Okay, good afternoon to all of you students. Students, today we are going to start the lesson number, science part 2, lesson number 15, okay? That is life processes in living organisms. Can you tell me students in your lower class, which life processes you have heard, you have studied about? Give the answers in the public chat. Life processes of butterfly. Okay, fine. Smriti, what else? Life process of plants, right? Name the life processes. I'm asking the names of the life processes which you have studied in your lower class. Reproduction. Very good, Manjima. Reproduction. Then which other life processes in your lower class you have studied? Respiration. Very good. What else? Yes, Bhumi Tiwari, ingestion, digestion, egestion, respiration, photosynthesis. She has given all the life processes. Very good, Bhumi. Very good, Balaji, digestion. So there are many life processes in both plants as well as animals, right? In your lower class, mainly you have studied about digestion and respiration. Do you know which organ is helping us in respiration? Which is the main organ which helps in respiration in human beings? Lungs, very good, lungs. Okay. So similarly, in digestion, which is the main organ which digests the food? Abdomen. Okay, stomach. Very good. Okay, that means stomach, small intestine and large intestine, right? Stomach is the main organ. So these all things process you have studied. You have drawn the diagram of alimentary canal, digestive system. You labeled it and explained it. Do you remember in your 5th standard, there was a chapter on digestion of food? Yes? Yes. So similarly in 6th and 7th also you studied various processes, life processes. So today in this chapter, you are going to learn mainly about transportation of food and water, okay, in both plants and animals. So I'm going to share my screen, students. Let us begin the lesson, okay. Science part 2, chapter number 15, life processes in living organisms. In this chapter, you will be learning what is meant by transportation in plants, what is excretion, how it takes place in plants, animals and human beings, what is meant by coordination in both plants and human beings. So students, let us first start with transportation. Now you might have seen or heard about farmer, right? The farmer, what he does, he tries to transport the water from wells or dams, right? To a main channel to every plant so that each and every plant gets water. Similarly, the food which is absorbed by the digestive system is converted into energy, and this energy and oxygen has to be transported, right, via blood throughout the body. So in short, how you can define transportation? A substance that is synthesized or absorbed in one part of the body is taken to other part with the help of transportation process. Okay. So by the process of transportation, what happens? A substance is either synthesized. Synthesized means what? Prepared. Okay. Or absorbed in one part of the body and it reaches another. Okay. So so you know, animals they do not move from one place to another. But what about plants? So plants can move but towards the sunlight, whereas animals can move from one place to another place. So animals are having many cells, whereas plants are having many dead cells, right? So they need less energy as compared to animals, right? So plants, what they will absorb? They will absorb the inorganic substances from the soil like nitrogen, phosphorus, magnesium, okay, manganese, sodium. So all these are what? Inorganic substances in the soil. So soil is the rich source of these minerals. So what the plant does, the roots of the plants, they will help. They will absorb these substances from the soil and transport them to specific part. Okay. Now you can look over here a diagram there which shows the what you have to do is you have to take a small plant like a balsam plant or a tuberose, okay, with its root intact. That means what? The root should be completely immersed in the water. Wash and clean the roots first before dipping the root. Okay. Now in the water you should add a stain of safranin or eosin. Okay, eosin solution is having pink color. It is a stain, and observe the stem and veins of the leaves after 2-3 hours. Now what you will find here, students? What about the veins? Veins of this plant. Can you tell me in the public chat? Okay. What you can see in the veins? You know, root will absorb the eosin solution, and I told you eosin is having reddish pink color. Yes, it turns red. The veins will turn red. Okay, so the veins will have the color of the water. Why? Because balsam or tuberose shows that color water rises due to what? There is root pressure taking place. Okay, the pressure exerted by the root is called root pressure. So due to root pressure, what happens? The minerals and water will rise up. It will reach different parts of the plants through xylem and phloem, right? So xylem and phloem will help in transportation. So it is an example for transportation of water. So water will rise, and that's why the color of the veins will be reddish. Yes, no? Because you have added which solution? Eosin. Okay, eosin. It is a, what you can say, it is a stain. And that stain will reach up to the veins. That's why the veins will turn red. Stem will look reddish. Okay, and the stand, and you have to hold the plant in a stand inside the beaker. Okay, so that is a small activity which shows about root pressure. Okay, now in the next slide, you can see absorption with the help of roots. Now how it absorbs? Now root cells are present. You can see the different shapes of cells over here, right? In the PPT, you can see different shapes of cells. So these are called root cells. Okay, root cells, what they will do, they will absorb the water. They are coming in contact with water as well as minerals in the soil. Okay, so what they will do, they will absorb water and minerals will enter the cells of the root surface due to differences in concentration. So as a result, what happens? These cells will become turgid. Turgid means what? They will swell. Okay, if you keep a sponge in water, what happens to sponge? Sponge will absorb the water and it will swell, right? Similarly, these turgid cells exert pressure on adjacent cells, and that is nothing but root pressure. Okay, so under this effect of this pressure, what happens? The water and minerals, they will reach the xylem of the root, and to reduce this difference in concentration, they continuously pushed forward. As a result of this continuous movement, a water column is formed, which is again continuously pushed ahead. So this pressure is sufficient to lift the water up in shrubs, small plants and small trees. That's why when you will pour water in the soil, immediately that water gets absorbed by the roots. Who is absorbing that? The root cells. Okay, there are cells and they will absorb that water and minerals from the soil, and they will become turgid and they will start applying pressure. Okay, that is called as root pressure. Okay, so that is about the absorption with the help of roots. Okay, now in my next slide, you can see the tree. Okay, and the tree is absorbing water not only from the land, but it is also absorbing water from the air, right? There is moisture in the air. So plants, you know, they give out water. Sometimes they give out water in the form of water vapor. Through what? Through the, because there are small pores below the leaves and they are called as stomata. Okay, so two cells called God cells are present around this stomata. So these cells will control the opening and closing of stomata. So what happens? The transpiration occurs through these stomata. Okay, so that is called transpiration. So water is released into the atmosphere by leaves through the process of evaporation. So as a result, what happens? The water level in the epidermal layer of the leaf decreases. Okay, so water is brought up to the leaves through the xylem. Okay, so you can, I will show you the next slide where you can see how the water level exactly get absorbed. Okay, so how the water is brought up to the leaves through the xylem so as to compensate for the loss of water. So water should not only lose, it should also absorb. So transpiration will help in actually absorbing the water and minerals and then distributing it to different parts of the plants like leaves, okay, stem, flower, fruits. Whereas root pressure, what it does, it performs an important role of pushing the water up during the night time. Okay, at night we are not pouring water. So who is helping? The root will absorb the moisture from the soil and at night they will help in pushing the water up. Okay, so that by with the help of root pressure, what exactly happens? Pushing the water up during the night time. Whereas transpiration, what it does, it helps in the absorption of water and minerals and distribution to different parts of the plants. So you can see over here the leaf is shown how the water is moving through the stem and then stomatal opening is there. God cells are shown over there. Okay, then thin layer of cells are there, oval shaped cells. Okay, tissues are there. Okay, so all these helps in transpiration through the leaves. So I hope you understood what is meant by transpiration, right? Okay. So along with this, there is also transportation of food and other substances in plants. Okay. Now let us study what is how it occurs. So the process of translocation means what? Transporting the food produced in the leaves to each cell of the plant body and storing the excess food in roots, fruits and seeds. So who carries this? Phloem. Phloem carries this process. So students, so now in transportation of food and other substances, I told you xylem and phloem is the main conducting tissues. Okay, so the process of translocation means what? Only food is transported. Okay, so produce and you know foods are produced in the leaves of the plants. The leaves of the plants will produce the food and it will reach each cell of the plant body, right? And the excess food is stored like amino acids. If it is in excess, it will be stored in the roots, fruits and seeds. You know what is the function of phloem, students? Give the answers in the public chat. If xylem is helping in transportation of food, what phloem does? Okay, okay, some students are having doubt about transpiration pull. 1 second, student. Okay, some are have already answered me. Transportation of water and liquid. Very good. So transportation of water and liquid. Okay. So Here, what happens, the phloem is mainly concerned with translocation in both upward and downward direction, right? So translocation needs what? Energy, and energy is available in the form of ATP. How many of you know the full form of ATP? What is ATP, students? Who will tell me what is the full form of ATP? Adenosine triphosphate. Very good, Manjima, Bhumi. This we have already done in 8th standard, yes? So ATP is a form of energy, adenosine triphosphate. Okay, so this energy is available in the plants. So the process of diffusion also helps in translocation. So diffusion process takes place, and because of this, translocation occurs. Translocation means what? From this energy is available, okay, and it need, and as per the need of the plant, what this phloem does, it transports the material. Okay, it transports the material. So actually phloem carries what? Translocation in upward direction as well as in downward direction. That means what? It transports the food which is produced in the leaves of the plants, right? So that process is called translocation. It will help the whole part of the plant to get its food. Understood? Okay. So, and that once again, I'll repeat what is transpiration and translocation. Okay. Now here, okay, students. So transpiration pull. Okay. Here, what exactly happened? The plants will give out water in the form of vapor. Okay. And through which part it gives out? Through the stomata. Right. And you know, there are two cells called God cells. As shown the diagram. I already shown you the diagram where God cells are present, and that around the stomata. And what is the function of these God cells? They will control the opening and closing of stomata. Okay, so during transpiration, what happens? The water is released in the atmosphere. Okay, by whom? By the leaves. Okay, why? Because there is evaporation process taking place, and the water level in the epidermal layer of the leaf decreases. Epidermal means what? Outer layer. Okay, and water is brought out by the to the leaves through the xylem. Why? So as to compensate for the lost water. Okay, so transpiration helps in absorption of water as well as minerals, as well as distribution to different parts of the plants. Okay, okay, so I have not shared the screen. Students, don't ask for the screen. I'm just explaining because some students were having doubt of transpiration, so I'm repeating it again. Okay, without the PPT, I'm explaining it, so don't ask for the screen. Okay, just listen. So what is transpiration? What is the main function? It will help in absorption of water and minerals and distribution of this to different parts of the plants. Okay. Whereas what is root pressure? Root pressure plays a main role of pushing the water up during night time. Okay. I hope your doubts are cleared. Some of the students were asking me, okay, what is transpiration? So that only I explain once again. Okay. So now I'll be sharing my screen after some time. Let me explain this part also. Okay. So we are completed with transpiration and translocation. Now moving to the next part, that is excretion. Okay. Can you tell me, students, what is what are the main substances that is excreted in living organisms? Which are the waste substances? Name some of the waste substances. Yes, urine. Yes, Aryan, correct. Uric acid, very good, Revati. Manjima, correct. And ammonia. Okay. So urea, uric acid, ammonia, these are the waste and harmful substances, okay, which is accumulated in the body, okay, and it can cause even death, serious harm to the living organism if it is not removed, because it is a waste substance. And you know, you should not accumulate the waste because it can create lot of diseases in your body. So all the organism, not only human beings, plants, even animals, they are having their own methods of removal of this harmful substance, and that process is called as excretion. So in unicellular organism like amoeba and all, waste materials are directly eliminated. Okay, So across the cell surface, whereas process of excretion in multicellular organism, they are having special organs. Like we human beings are multicellular. So we are having the excretory organs. Whereas in plants, it is different. So let us learn one at a time. Now I'm going to share my screen. Okay, students, you can see how I have shown you a tree, and you can see in the tree all the leaves are falling down. Yes, most of the dried leaves falls down. So excretion in plants is very simple compared to animals. There is no special organ. Can you see any organ in plants and trees? No. So gaseous substances are also given out by diffusion. So most of the substances of plants are stored in vacuoles of leaf cells and even in flowers, fruits, bark, etc. So after some time, what will happen to these parts? They will fall off. So some other waste materials where they are storing even in the xylem in the form of resin and gum. So these waste materials are given out through what? Roots. Okay. So the roots gives out this waste material in the soil. Now you can see this diagram which is showing gum and latex. Okay. So this gum and latex, from which tree it comes out? From the rubber tree. You might have seen the rubber tree. So in this tree, how the waste materials are removed? They are removed in the form of rubber or gum. Whereas in some other plants, it is in the form of crystals of calcium oxalate. That is called as raphides. Okay, it is a needle-shaped structure and it prickles in our hand and it causes irritation to the skin also. So some waste materials of plants will be useful to human beings, like for example, gums and resin, latex of rubber. These all we human beings can use it, okay, to make some products from rubber. There are many products available made up of rubber, like rubber belt, okay, eraser. So all these things can be made. Now let us move to excretion in human beings. Okay. Okay. Now I have shown here the main excretory system. Okay. That is our excretory system looks in this way, right? So it is having inferior vena cava, renal pelvis, medulla oblongata, then cortex, urethra, bladder, ureter, abdominal aorta, kidney, renal vein, renal artery and adrenal gland. So these are some of the parts of the excretory system in human beings. Okay. So now let us learn how it functions. So this excretory system removes what? Toxic substances produced in our body. So it is having following organs like pair of kidneys, pair of ureters, urinary bladder and urethra. So all the toxic waste which is present in the blood, what is done? It is undergoing filtration, and kidneys help in filtration of this blood. Okay, so the right kidney you can see it is slightly lower than your left kidney. Okay, so kidney is how it looks. What is the shape of kidney? It is bean shaped. Yes, and they are situated one on either side of your vertebral column, on the posterior side of the abdomen. And the functional unit of the kidney that performs basic function is what? Filtration, and that is called as a nephron. Okay, nephron helps in filtration. Now there is also a Bowman's capsule. It is cup-like, thin-walled, okay, cup-like thin-walled structure that is called as Bowman's capsule. Okay, and it is in the upper part. Then there is a glomerulus. Now what it does? It is nothing but network of blood capillaries. So the urea which is produced in the liver comes into the blood. When the urea containing blood comes into glomerulus, it is filtered. Okay, it is filtered through capillaries, and the urea and other similar substances will get separated after filtration. And the kidneys filter about 190 liters of blood, from which about 1 to 1.9 liters of urine is formed. So formation of urine, how it takes place? It takes place through the Bowman's capsule. You know, Bowman's capsule is having semi-permeable membrane. That means what? There are many pores in the membrane, small holes. Okay, so the molecules of water, other molecules can easily pass through these pores. And whatever the solution remaining in this capsule will enter the uriniferous tube, or called nephron. Okay, nephron is having 4 parts. Okay, so that is proximal convoluted tubule, loop of Henle, distal convoluted tubule, and collecting duct. Okay, so these are some of the parts. Now water and some molecules are again absorbed into the blood, and the remaining toxic substances, what is done, that will move out with some other water, and it is sent for elimination. And this solution is nothing but the urine. Okay, so the urine is produced in the kidney, and then it is taken through the ureters and it is deposited in the urinary bladder. So you can see the urinary bladder. Okay, so it is deposited in the urinary bladder, which is muscular, and it is under the control of voluntary nerves. From urinary bladder, urine goes out of the body through urethra. So kidneys are what? They are main organs of excretion in human beings. Along with kidney, we are having skin and lungs also. That also helps in excretion. Okay, so you can see the structure of kidney. Okay, now this is how it looks like. It is having cortex, renal capsule, renal pyramid, renal artery, renal vein, ureter, and renal calyx. So this is how this is just internal part of the kidney shown over here. Okay, so that is how the our respiratory organ functions. Now in this diagram you can see the nephron. Okay, nephron is connected to the kidney, right? Now here you can see how it is, what all parts they are having. Nephron, I told you, glomerulus. Okay, Bowman's capsule is also shown, cortex, distal convoluted tubule, collecting duct, and it is reaching to the ureter. Okay, so in this way the nephron works. Okay, so nephron is having many parts, and all the parts helps in what? Formation of urine. Okay, so in this way urine is formed, which is passed out through the urinary bladder. Okay, and then through the urethra. Okay. So I hope you understood about this. Okay, now next is dialysis. You might have heard the kidneys. Okay, kidneys, if it doesn't function properly, what happens? All the waste gets accumulated in the body, which may cause the death of the living organism. So what has to be done? Filtration of the blood has to be done by machine. If suppose naturally it is not occurring, we need dialysis machine, right? So now in the PPT, you can see the dialysis of blood using dialysis machine. So this machine is useful for purification of blood artificially, right? So what it does, it will help in purifying the blood. Okay, so if so filtration of blood is done by this machine. 500 ml of blood is sent at a time. So at a time only 500 ml of blood can be sent through this machine. Then it will be purified and reinfused back into the body of the patient. And dialysis is thus, it is very useful. It helps in the process of separating the waste from the blood. Okay, so we can call it as an artificial machine, and it is useful for the patients whose kidneys are not working. Okay, kidneys are not functioning properly. You might have heard of patients with who is having kidney problem, so they are going for dialysis. Okay, so so that their blood can get purified. Okay, so I hope you understood what is dialysis. Okay, now this is also a machine which shows how the dialysis machine works. Okay, the compressed air is kept, fresh dialysate, and then dialysis machine is there where arterial pressure is monitored, blood is pumped. Okay, so you can see how the blood is flowing. You can look at the label diagram over page number 168, which shows the dialysis machine. Okay, so that is not just they are shown, nothing to explain much about that, just the machine they have shown in how it exactly looks like, right? Okay, now next we are having coordination in plants. Let us learn how coordination takes place in plants, then we will move to animals. Before that, I want to ask you, what is coordination? Have you heard this word coordination? Okay, so coordination is nothing but it is bringing about different processes in proper sequence. If different processes occur, it should occur systematically. Okay, it should work in coordination. So there should be control and coordination. That means what? Systematic regulation of different processes should take place, and all the processes should be in proper sequence. So there is proper coordination between various systems in our body: digestive system, respiratory system, excretory system. So all these systems work in coordination. Similarly, in plants, there is tropism or tropic movements taking place. Now you can see the pollen tube growing towards the ovule. Okay. So movement of growth of any part of the plant in response to external stimulus is called as tropism or tropic movement. For example, the shoot system of any plant, it will go towards what? Towards the sunlight because it needs light. Shoot means what? The stem. So movement of plants towards the source of light is called phototropic movement, right? Whereas root system, it will go to what? It will be responding to stimuli like gravitation and water. So these responses are called as what? Gravitropic movement or hydrotropic movement, because roots will move in search of what? Water. Okay. So movement shown by plants in response to specific chemicals. Suppose any chemicals are there, and the movement towards that chemical, what we can say, it is chemotropic movement. Okay. So these are some of the coordinations taking place in plants. Okay. Similarly, in the PPT, I have shown you the growth of pollen tube towards the ovule. It is also a chemotropic movement. So all these movements of plants are related with what? Growth. It shows that the plant is growing. So all such movements are collectively called as growth relevant movements. So what we can say them as growth relevant movements. Okay. So you can see here the plant is growing, okay, because the stem is showing the movement. The leaves and stem are moving towards the sunlight. So, and here you can see the creeper, okay. Creeper is showing thigmotropic response. The tendrils are there, okay. Tendrils are there, so it is showing this thigmotropic response, okay, moving towards the support, right? So on careful observation, if you will see the touch me not plant, okay, or you might have seen touch me not plant like mimosa. It will, whenever you touch it, it immediately closes its leaves. Okay, that means what? It got the information about the touch. Okay, so hence we can say that the information about the touch must have been relayed within the plant from one place to another. So plants, what they use? Electrochemical impulses to transform the information, okay, from one place to another. So the cells of the plants, you know what they do? They will change their shape. Either they will increase or decrease the shape according to the water present in them. If the water content is more, the shape of the cell will be bigger. If the water content is less, the shape of the cell will be smaller. Okay, so you can see in the diagram Venus flytrap. What it does, it catches the insect. It catches the flies coming near it. Then you can see the lotus. Okay, Lotus lives in water. It needs water. It opens during daytime, while um, if you will check the flower of tube rose, it opens at night. Whereas Venus flytrap, what is present? A trap is present in Venus flytrap, and that appears and smells like flowers. Okay, so what the insects will do? Insect will think it as a flower. Okay, so when an insect visits that flower like trap, what happens? The trap immediately closes up, and what the entrapped insect, it will not be allowed to escape. It will be digested by that plant. So you can see over here how the Venus flytrap looks like and how it traps the insect and digests the insect. Okay. And lotus flower, as I told you, it will open only during daytime. Okay. So all these are some of the examples of what different coordination taking place in plants, right? So that is about the plants. Okay, now let us move to coordination in human beings. Now you can see over here the nerve cell. Okay, so now why I'm showing you nerve cell? Because it is a main part which helps in coordination in human beings. Okay, you know, nerve cells are present in the brain. We are having nervous control. So two mechanisms takes place to control and coordinate. That is called nervous control and chemical control. So in nervous control, what happens? Impulse takes place. So impulse means what? With the changes taking place in surrounding, the impulses are generated in our body. And response means what? Responses we are giving, okay, to the respective stimulus. And who is helping us? The nervous system. So in bigger animals, complex animals, human beings, we are having very highly developed nervous system, right? Whereas in small animals like amoeba and all unicellular animals, they don't have particular nervous system. So there are no such impulses and response produced in amoeba. Whereas in human beings, we are having special nervous system. Now, how this nervous system is made up of? They are having neurons. Okay, neurons are cells, or you can call it as nerve cells. The structural and functional unit of nervous system is made up of millions of nerve cells. Okay, there are many nerve cells. Okay, I have shown you only one, right? So the neurons conduct impulses from one place to another in the body. What it does, it passes the messages, impulses from one place to another. Okay, so the largest cell of the human body is called as neuron. It is one of the largest cell in our body. And it will generate and conduct some impulses, chemical impulses. So the cells that support the nerve cells and helps in the function is called neuroglia. Okay, so nerve cells and neuroglia cells together forms our nerves. Okay, now let us learn the structure. It is having three parts mainly, that is cyton or cell body, dendrites and axon. So these are the three parts of neuron. So there is also myelin sheath of the axon. This is not continuous. Okay, myelin sheath is not continuous, but there are nodes of Ranvier in between. Schwann cell is also seen on the axon. Okay, so the dendrites have typical process through which it can collect the information from the surrounding. What these dendrites do? They will collect the information from the surrounding and then it is sent to cyton. So you can see a large nucleus in the center of the cell body. Okay? So cell body can send the electric impulses. So look at the diagram at page number 171, label diagram, where you can see all these parts. Dendrites, you can see axon, Schwann cell, node of Ranvier, myelin sheath. Okay, so these are all the parts of the nerve cell, right? So even there are minute space called synapse. Now what is the synapse? It is between two neurons, between two nerve cells. So in this way, neural impulse is transmitted from dendrites to cell body, then from cell body to axon, and from axon to synapse. So the neural impulses, that means what messages are transmitted from one neuron to the adjacent neuron. So what happens? There will be secretion of neurotransmitters. It is a chemical substance secreted by the nerves. Okay, so due to these chemical substances, what happens? Impulses are transmitted from very rapidly. So the response is also given by the muscle cells. So that's why somebody, if you anybody calls you from back, like touches your hand or from back, you will immediately respond. You will look back. Who is that? Yes. So the response is ultimately given by the muscle cell. So the nervous cell is well organized network of nerves which can conduct the information in the form of what? Electrical impulses from one part of the body to the other part. Okay. Now you can see the human body. Yes. Where all the nerves, human nervous system, you can see different types of nerve cells here. That is, sensory neurons are there, motor neurons are there, association neurons are there, right? So sensory neurons means what? Which conducts impulses from sensory organs, okay, like brain and the spinal cord. Whereas motor neurons means what? It will conduct the impulses from the brain or spinal cord to effector organs like muscles or glands. And association neurons, what it does? It will perform the function of integration in the nervous system. So human nervous system is basically divided into central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and autonomic nervous system. Now let us learn first about the structure central nervous system. Now central nervous system consists of mainly brain and spinal cord. Okay, so brain of human brain, it is very much well developed. Yes. Now brain, if you will see, study about the brain, you can say that brain is main controlling part of nervous system. What is the weight of brain? 1300 to 1400 grams in adult human beings. And it consists of approximately 100 billion neurons. And it is protected by cranial cavity. And there is also spinal cord, which is protected in the vertebral column. There are meninges. Meninges are nothing but protective layers in the space between the central nervous system and bony covering. There are ventricles, which are nothing but cavities which are present in various parts of the brain. So you can see that labeling in your textbook, page number 173, where they have shown medulla oblongata, spinal cord, cerebellum, and cerebrum. When convolutions of the cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla oblongata, all these are shown over there. So look, so these all are the parts of the brain. Okay, but main structure of brain means what? You will have to write the three main parts, that is cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. Cerebrum is what? It is the largest part of the brain. And 2/3 part of our brain is made up of cerebrum. Okay, and it is having two cerebral hemispheres. How it is joined to each other? By the fibers and nerve tracts. So you can see over here the diagram which shows cerebrum, and the surface has, you can see regular ridges and grooves. They are called as convolutions. Okay, and convolution will increase the surface area of the cerebrum, and therefore large number of nerve cells can be accommodated here. Next comes cerebellum. It is a smaller part of the brain. It is situated back of the cranial cavity below the cerebrum. Okay, so that is cerebellum. You can see over here the ash colored structure, that is blackish color, little blackish, that is cerebellum. It is a smaller part. Okay, and the surface, how it is looking like? It shows shallow grooves. Instead of convolutions, what is there? Grooves are present. Okay, then you can see medulla oblongata. Now, how medulla oblongata is? It is a small yellowish part, okay, below the brain, the hind part of the brain, and two triangular swollen structures are there. That is called as pyramids. Okay, and they are present on the upper part of the medulla oblongata. The hind part of medulla oblongata continues as spinal cord. Finally, spinal cord is located firmly inside the vertebral column. Okay, it is slightly thick and it tapers towards the end. Right. So that is about the spinal cord. Now certain now here you can see left and right side of the brain. Okay, the function of left brain is what? They will help us to think analytically, analytical thinking, logical thinking, language, science and mathematics. If your left brain is good, you are good in maths and science. Okay. If your right brain is good, what is its use? It helps in intuition, creativity, art, music, holistic thinking. You are a holistic thinker. You are more creative. You will be good in drawing and craft. So that is the difference in the function of left brain and right brain. Okay. So that is shown over here. Okay. Now you can see here the different parts of the brain and spinal cord. Okay. Like you can see the brain joined to a vertebral column. Spinal cord is there. Okay. So spinal cord, as I told you, it is within the vertebral column, right? Now you can see here the peripheral nervous system, which consists of cranial and spinal nerves, right? In the peripheral nervous system, there are cranial nerves which originates from the brain that are called cranial nerves, and they are associated with various parts in the head, thorax, and abdomen. So total there are 12 pairs of cranial nerves. Whereas spinal nerves, they originate from the spinal cord. They are called as spinal nerves, and it is associated with our arms, legs, skin, and other parts. So there are total 31 pairs of spinal nerves. Now let us see autonomic nervous system. Now reflex action. Now in the PPT I have shown you what is reflex action. It is nothing but autonomous nervous system that will contain some nerves, which nerves of involuntary organs like heart, lungs, stomach. It is under the control of our will, right? So an immediate and involuntary response is given to a stimulus from the environment. That is called reflex action. So sometimes we react to an incident without any thinking on our part. So this is called response given to certain stimulus from the surrounding. So in such situation, what is the proper control and coordination is achieved, okay, by the brain. Okay, so that is shown like in the diagram. You can see when you touch your finger on a lighted candle, immediately the finger burns, and what you will do, you will move your hands back. Immediately the finger will go back. Yes, that shows that your autonomic nervous system helps you in proper response to stimulus. So next is chemical control. Okay, what is this chemical control? Okay, now chemical control and coordination also takes place. Okay, because there are certain chemicals called hormones in our body. So chemical control is done by whom? The hormones. So this is the last part of this chapter, which is a small part. Okay, so here chemical control is done by hormones. Okay, and there are endocrine glands which are called ductless glands. Okay, whose secretion will mix in the blood circulation directly. So through the blood circulation, they reach the entire body. There are no impulses are taking place. They are very fast but short-lived. Okay? Whereas action of hormones will be very slow but long-lasting. So there is a special mechanism which controls the quantity and timing of hormone secretion. So these hormones are secreted only in the required quantity, right? They will not be in much. For example, whenever there is an increase in blood sugar level, you know, so what happens, certain cells in the pancreas, they get stimulated, and as a response, what they will do, they will release a greater quantity of insulin, right? So that is one example you can write over here, right? So that is about the chemical control. So hormones are secreted by whom? By the endocrine glands, which are ductless glands, and these glands do not have any arrangement of their own, okay, to either store or carry the secretion. So as soon as these hormones are produced, what they are done, they are directly released in the blood circulation. So these endocrine glands are present at specific locations. The secretions reach all parts of the body via what? Through the blood. So endocrine glands along with the nervous system will help in control and coordination. So you can see in textbook page number 176 how the various glands are there, like hypothalamus, pineal gland, pituitary gland, thyroid gland and parathyroid gland, thymus, adrenal gland, ovary and testes. So all these are called endocrine glands. Okay, they all are called as endocrine glands and they will help in chemical control. Okay, so students, today we completed the lesson number 15, life processes in living organisms, where we started with what is transportation in plants, transportation in animals, what is excretion. Okay, excretion, how it takes place in plants, what is how it takes place in animals by proper excretory system. Then we went to dialysis, what is dialysis, then what is coordination in plants and animals we studied. Okay, then we studied about neuron, structure of neuron. Okay, then we done the human nervous system, which consists of central nervous system, brain, and structure of brain also we studied. Then we finally concluded with chemical control. What is chemical control? So I hope you all understood the chapter very well.